as presented. Is there any errors or omissions to note? Hearing none, look for move to minutes, please. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. There's nothing under our public hearings, presentations, or questions in that area. Number 5, we have one correspondence from Remo operating budget. I assume that'll be incorporated into our budget discussions.
Through Chair to the Deputy Mayor. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's great. So we'll move on to business arising from the minutes on unfinished business. So we have a repeal of town policy and we have a draft motion there. If maybe Jamie would like to comment on that before we move forward.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, to the members of council. As we chatted about quite some time ago and quite frequently, staff have been going through some of our current policies and just removing those that are no longer applicable and identifying those that need to be updated. We've identified 15 that are listed there. Staff have reviewed these and confirms that these policies are outdated or no longer practical. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions for Jamie? Anyone like to move the motion? Moved by Susan, Ed, seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Number 8 on this committee meeting minutes, recommendations, reports, notices of motion, nothing under that. New business. We have the quarterly police report and we have Corporal Tracy Johnson here. And Kelly, I didn't get your last name or rank, but I can tell you you're a stellar Parallel Parker. So
Okay, well, first off, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Corporal Tracy Johnston. I'm actually your new police liaison for Lunenburg. I kind of assumed this role in January. I've been in the district since 2019, but this is a brand new position for me and happy to be here and to get to know the town a little bit and familiarize myself with all of you as well. If you have a look at the quarterly report, the first few pages are just kind of an overview of what we have and what we offer to the town of Lunenburg. So this is our entire district, which encompasses from Chester all the way down to Bridgewater. So your numbers there are what you get for the entire district. Okay. We also have our Southeast Traffic Services that work in this area and they cover from here all the way down to Liverpool. But they are quite often policing around this vicinity because they have their main offices out of Chester. So for example, for today, there was at least 6 members that were kind of floating around from traffic services. Our facilities here, nothing new. The big things for you guys is we wanted to look at our calls for service from October 1st to December 31st of 2022. So in total for the district, we received 2,403 calls. That encompassed anything from criminal code to CDSA to the provincial act legislations that we enforce. And we kind of give you a breakdown as to what types of calls in particular that we were dealing with throughout the district. A big one for us, especially in the last few years in particular, is the mental health calls. They seem to be quite high, and crime prevention calls. And crime prevention basically is any time that police attend for any type of situation where there isn't necessarily something criminal happening at that point in time, but it's something that we can attend to and hopefully prevent something from happening in the future. If we look at specifically for the town of Lunenburg, we've only have 142 calls for service. And I think if we look back through, there's a whole chart in the last appendixes that kind of explain our numbers. And I think we're down a little bit from previous years. We don't have a whole lot of major calls for service in the town of Lunenburg, which is exceptional. And that's what we like to see happening. Parking offenses are quite low, although I know that's something that often gets brought to our attention. We don't seem to get a whole of those reported to us specifically. Certain calls for service that would be of interest or that were kind of stuck out to us throughout this period. That we did have a domestic call where a 61-year-old female was arrested for assault. Those charges have been sent through the courts. We were called on October 24th along with EHS to an off-road vehicle accident. 65-year-old male was transported to the hospital with head and neck injuries. We didn't have any witnesses to that complaint in particular, and no charges have been laid. On November 13th, we had a 20-year-old female that was arrested and charged for impaired operation, and that is actually before the courts. And on November 26th, we had quite a substantial shoplifting complaint from the Lunenburg hardware store. When I submitted this report, I said the file was still under investigation, but we did have some suspects. And actually 2 weeks ago, we arrested somebody and charges are being laid for that file in particular. Then I just kind of gave you guys a breakdown of where we stand in the district in terms of who's where, and if you need to reach out to somebody, who to contact. So we have Staff Sergeant Victor Whalen. He's our district commander out of Cookville office. He regrettably couldn't be here this evening, so you kind of are left with us two to speak with. This is Sergeant Kelly Plomadon. She's our recently appointed new sergeant out of the Cookville office. And she's a great asset and wealth of knowledge to our district. So we're quite happy to have her here. We have Sergeant Brent Johnson. He's the operations sergeant working out of Chester Detachment. We have our two corporals that work out of Cookville, Corporal Matt Leggett and Corporal Walter Goliath. They're our team leaders that work out of the Cookville Detachment, but they would have members that work out of Lunenburg specifically. So it may be one of them that you're reaching out to speak to if you need a supervisor. At this point in time, we have two acting corporals for the other two watches. However, we've recently named two corporals that will be working and starting out of Chester, hopefully within the next 2 months. And both of those individuals that are coming to work for us are coming with quite a wealth of knowledge. They're coming out of major crime backgrounds. So we're very happy to be having them join our district here in the near future. We have Constable Gord Gifford, who has worked quite extensively here in Lunenburg County. He's our CIS&S Criminal Intelligence Service, Nova Scotia. He works with our Bridgewater police officer, but he works throughout the district, and he cultivates a lot of information for us that leads to charges. For example, in our recent theft here in the town, Gord actually provided us with some information that led to charges in that one. We have Constable Aaron Bishop, who is our street crime enforcement officer, who's working out of Cookville, and he works as part of an integrated team with Bridgewater Police. And we have Constable Paul McCallion, who is our general investigative section member from Lunenburg District. He again works out of Cookville Detachment, but services the whole entire district. We have a police dog service member. He's been in the district for probably, I want to say 6 months to a year now. He has an office out of Chester, but he frequently travels throughout the district. In terms of our resources right now, I don't think my numbers really reflect what we have at this point in time, because again, I submitted this a few weeks back, so our numbers fluctuate up and down, but we do have some members off ODS, unfortunately right now. So sorry, an acronym there for the RCMP, off duty sick. We do have a few that were off and have recently retired from the RCMP, so we will be filling those positions and are hopeful that they'll get filled sooner than later. You certainly can.
And we also, in relation to this with the resourcing aspect, we also have members who were off duty, but they've also some have retired, but some have also come back to work. So we know that resourcing and human resources are a big issue, and it's a big point. And that's we're no different than any other company, business across Canada right now, and we are short, and we are addressing that. But I just wanted to let you know that there's also members that have come back to work. So
it's always a positive. Just moving on to our street crime enforcement team, GIS team. Our supervisor there is Corporal Derek McAlpine. He works out of the Lunenburg office. And like I mentioned previously, we have McCallion and Bishop that work as part of his team, along with members from Bridgewater Police. And they work throughout the district, depending on where the information is coming in to determine, what it is that they're going to be focusing on. I'm going to kind of skip over the 8 and 9 and jump right into 10 because it kind of makes more sense to go there. It's looking at the street crime and the GIS unit. So in the fall of 2020, GIS and street crime spent a substantial amount of time investigating with major crime, with the disappearance and homicide investigation of Mr. Barry Albert. The investigation is continuing, but our members spent a substantial amount of time working up to get to the point where major crime actually came in and took over the investigation. And during that fourth quarter of last year, we saw 9 criminal code or controlled drugs and substance acts warrants that were authorized, with 3 searches executed for a total of 53 charges and 5 individuals that were taken into custody. Street crime also investigated a suspected trafficker of cocaine in the Blockhouse area of Lunenburg. We executed a search warrant in December 2022, which resulted in drug trafficking as well as possession of stolen property. And it was quite a substantial amount of stolen property that we were able to return to residents within Lunenburg County. The male suspect is also facing charges from last March as well, where a search warrant was executed, and he will be back, or actually, I think he's already been back in court this month. If we want to look at our South Shore Traffic Services stats there, throughout the last quarter, they had 322 SOTs or summary offense tickets, 217 warnings, and 59 checkpoints. So we are seeing them out on the roads quite a bit there. Hopefully none of you are the lucky person to receive any of those. And if I flick back again to the school or the school safety resource officers, I have 2 resource officers that kind of work with me, Constable Ted Bailey and Constable Leah Beaton. One works out of Chester, one works out of Cookville, but they both work throughout the district. And I think actually Constable Beaton spent the majority of her day today here in Lunenburg. So they are out and about. They're doing lots of presentations for the schools on various topics. Cyberbullying, consent seems to be a really big one. Intimate images and sending things on their phones are really big concerns. Bullying, it's there in the background, it always is, but it doesn't seem to be at the forefront right now. So that's a good thing. But they've been really proactive, especially in the school zones with some of our traffic issues and stuff that have been going on. And we also have our community policing officer that falls under my umbrella as well, at Constable Sonia Upshaw. She's been in the district now for a few years, but kind of gets tossed back and forth, especially during the COVID years. But she is here in the community and looking to get involved and take part. So if there's any special events or community things going on that you'd like for somebody to be involved in, please reach out to myself or Constable Upshaw. We're always looking for more stuff to get out into the community and get involved with. So that's my report in a nutshell. There is several pages if you're a stats person, if you're a numbers person, and you want to kind of look at the differences from the Q3 and Q4 from 2022 versus 2021, and it kind of gauge you and let you know where we're at and what's been happening throughout the town. I do have one kind of final thing before I open it up to you guys. We do have an RCMP Police Week open house happening on May the 17th from 4 to 8 at our RCMP headquarters in Dartmouth. And that's open to anybody and everybody that would like to attend. So if anybody is interested, it's May the 17th, 4 to 8. And it kind of gives you an overview of everything that the RCMP has to offer and some of the different units and whatnot. And it's pretty interactive, especially for kids. Lots of stuff going on there for children as well. But any questions, or do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, just a little bit. Well, I guess I say no, but yes. Just in relation to the tour of headquarters in Dartmouth. It's something that would greatly benefit coming in. Like Tracy had said, you get to see everything that's offered that comes to you as the community of Lunenburg. So there's major crimes, there's ident, there's the dispatch OCC. There's so many things that people generally don't even know unless they have to have them, or they come and see something like this. So you'd be able to have a tour of all those units. It is a wonderful thing if you guys are able to go. It really kind of puts it into perspective as to what comes as part of having the RCMP.
First off, I just want to say thank you for the comprehensive report. It's very much appreciated. And I wanted to say thank you. I just have a quick question in regards to, you said that you're short staffed. And the question always is, we don't see enough police presence in town. I'm curious what happens after, say, midnight, if there's a call that comes in, who's getting dispatched? Like, where are you coming from? Because I know there's nobody in Lilydale, correct?
No, there are.
Okay.
We're in Lilydale. Our hours go until 3 a.m, and then we have on call after 3. But yeah, there would be still members there until 3 a.m. On call from that point, the members could be coming from Chester. They could be coming from Cookville. It just kind of depends, or they might be right here in Lilydale, depending on where the member lives.
Any further questions? Thank you very much. And I must say, like, I know that open house is very impressive. I didn't get the opportunity to go the last council I was on. I won't this time again, but the members that went, they came back, they were really impressed with it. It's quite a spectacle. So if you do get a chance to do it, you should.
One thing I would like to bring up, and this might be a conversation for a later time amongst yourselves, but just if the town has certain priorities that they would like to see from the RCMP for the next year, if there's certain things that you'd like for us to focus on, or if there's certain things that are, kind of plaguing the area that you think that we might not be aware of, certainly bring them forward to us and we can make them part of our annual performance plan to make sure that we're reaching those goals for you guys.
Thank you. I think Ed, you have a question.
Yeah, I think to that, through the chair, again, thank you for the report, and it's wonderful to meet you both. The one thing we hear constantly, to Councillor Bertle's point, is just presence, just to be able to be seen during the day, during events, and I think we've all heard the same thing. So, maybe that's a further, like I said, that's a further conversation. We talk about the community policing aspect of policing. I think is really important here. As you can see, there's not a lot of major crime, but people do want to know you're around. And
Absolutely.
One of the things with Lunenburg is they cover, the members that are here also cover Lunenburg town proper, and they cover outside of Lunenburg. So they do cover a bigger area than just the town, which I know you guys already know. So sometimes that takes them away a bit, but I know there's been talk of having a noise bylaw put in. There's been talk of and that would be something that we would respond to as well. I know the parking has been an issue. As the summer months come, we will increase our presence as well, but don't hesitate that if something comes up that you do call us. Okay. You can call it attachment, you can call 911. And like Tracy said, if there's something specific, please let us know, because we do work for you, right? So we want to know what's on your minds to make sure that we address those issues.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is item 9.2, the vending bylaw first reading. So this is simply a first reading of the new vending bylaw that will be brought forward to the next meeting. So anyone that wants to delve into that should, and have the opportunity to ask council or staff any questions about that until our next meeting, if you have any one about that. But we do need a motion just to move that forward to be recognized from the Mr. Powers and that. It doesn't require a vote. It'll be on the next agenda and then we'll be dealing with it then. Oh, it does? Doesn't need a vote? doesn't need to be seconded?
Yeah, it needs to.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, so we need a seconder then, right? Okay, Susan, thank you. And we need a vote on it. Sorry about that. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion's carried. We'll see that on the next agenda then. Next is capital and operating budget variances for December 31st. Kathleen, are you up on that?
I am. The report before you is for the period ending December, which is 75% of the year. The capital reports are found on pages 1 to 4, and a status report was given to council in September. And the notes on the capital report were updated during the January preparation. The green check marks indicate that a project is complete. Page 6 shows the operating statement with revenue of 95% and expenditures of 75% or 72%. Transfer tax collected to date is $514,859, and it was budgeted at $390,000. Parking revenue collected to date is 88%, and we still have one collection to go. And the current balance of that is $123,000. Salt to date is $32,000 of the $85,000 budgeted expenditure. This, of course, will have March expenses added. However, we should not exceed this amount or even come anywhere near to that. We are continuing to monitor our fuel, and we know that we are over budgets in some areas, but we do not feel that the overall budget will be over at the end of the year. And that is my report.
Thank you, Kathleen. Any questions for Kathleen? Ed, go ahead.
Just a quick question about the expenditures in the town general revenue. I'm looking at fiscal services at a 124% budget. What's the reason for that? Page 6.
I'm sorry, Councillor. I'm not sure where you were
Sorry,
referring
page
to.
6 of 7. In the operating financial statements.
The reason that is because we are going to have more transfers to reserves than we had anticipated during budget season. So there'll be recommendations that come at year end that we're anticipating that we will be able to bring more to the table that we are going to be able to put in reserve than we knew of during the budget season.
Okay.
So if we've collected more transfer tax, then of course we're going to be transferring more across to the reserve. Or if we've collected other areas of revenue that we feel will help to increase our reserves, then that will be a recommendation to council at year end that they be transferred across. So that's why you're seeing a significant increase over what was budgeted.
Okay, it's basically a holding place for the extra revenue.
That's correct.
Got it. Thank you.
No further questions? Thank you, Kathleen. Very well done.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the LAF application for the Lunenburg Curling Club. So we have 3 draft motions there. Normally I would declare conflict. I am a member of the club. However, this is just basically their money coming back to them. So I will refrain from voting, but I guess I'll stay in the chair for these purposes. So anyone would like to move the following motions forward? Stephen, Ed, all 3 motions? All 3? Any questions about the motions? Discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. So then the last thing here is the motion to move in camera. We have to do all the sections 22 and all the gobbledygook that's in there, or do we just have a motion that's presented?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so look for a motion moving camera. Motion's passed and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. So we'll take a 5-minute recess and resume in camera.
Just before we recess, Deputy Mayor, I assume there's a lot of people in the audience here would like to have a discussion with us about something, and where we're going to camera. I feel it's probably inappropriate to ask them to leave and then come back, I would like to perhaps have a discussion. Obviously, it's not on the agenda, but if we could extend the recess so we could get into the and speak into the gallery and speak with them to find out what their concerns are, perhaps take 20 minutes.
Oh, sorry. So we'll do a 20-minute recess then. And it means we will resume at quarter to 7. Okay. All right. Fine, Sky. Recess.